Hello YouTube. Today I have my version 2 for my Ivy build. There's a lot of things swapped around, a lot of things changed, a lot of things added, and today I'm going to go through these changes, these additions, etc., and explain to you why they're made. Now, disclaimer, this Ivy build is extremely thought out. It's not something just thrown on to this Ivy build list and put on there just for clicks or whatever, right? This is an actual build that I use every game as Ivy. This is my Ivy build, the one that I use to play this game. So if you have any questions about anything, feel free to leave a comment down below. I'm sorry for the lack of Deadlock streams on Twitch. I have been playing a lot of Dark and Darker, but enough of the fucking bullshit. Let's get right in there. The first new addition to my Ivy build that I'd like to cover is Headshot Booster. Now, this is the start of a discussion we're going to have and you're going to see throughout this whole entire build where Ivy is weak early game. And indeed, Ivy is weak early game. Some quick notes to describe to you why Ivy is weak early game is because her gun, she does more damage when she's closer range. She doesn't really have a lot of damage at a distance, right? First consideration. Second consideration, she's very low base HP, right? And third consideration, she doesn't really have any poke. Her kudzu bomb in comparison to Lady Geist's explosion orb thing is night and day. She just doesn't really, she's not a good laner. Ivy's strengths come with the late game scaling and the late game power she gets with these items on her gun, in my opinion. Obviously for the support role, we're not going to talk about that because I played DPS Ivy. And her strength comes with, right, her ult. You can get very good roams off once you have your ult and you can get the prio in lane, right? Push in your lane, ult, roam, look for a pick somewhere, and then you help your laners get leads through that, which is what you'll see often me do in my videos. Headshot Booster gives us that early game priority. When I mean early game priority, I'm talking about early game advantage in your lane. This is going to severely increase your damage against your opponents because it adds 45 damage to your headshot. I mean, 45 damage to your headshot every 7 seconds. That is going to be insane. You're going to obviously have to aim for the head, and the damage that you'll be doing with it compared to the damage without is just insane. So like look, for example, so if we break it out of the build, right, let's say you're laning, let's say this is a justified area, right? Per headshot you're dealing about 7, right? 7 with this, right? You're obviously not gonna be shooting the enemy the whole entire time, but you'd be like poking, because that's how laning works, right? They take CS, you poke them, you take CS, they poke you, right? So if you shoot them, the damage is like increased by like 40 damage this range. So that was 47, 47, right? It's absolutely insane. It seems very insignificant, but over time when you're laning, right, and you're poking, this number is going to add up. It's just going to give you that power to lane against your opponents as Ivy. Now, the second item I'd like to talk about is Ammo Scavenger. Now, you need a bit of context to understand this choice in the build. When we are playing Ivy, usually what you will build, if you are not building any of these mid-game utility choices, is you are building Suppressor, Bull Resist Shredder, Quicksilver Reload on your 2, right? Put this on your 2. I need to put that a bit up more, this is a new addition. And Mystic Slow, right? It's a replacement for Suppressor. So, you're at this awkward spot where you have 3 spirit item slots and you don't really have a good 4th choice. So this is before this build, right? And sometimes, you know, if there's an Abrams, you'd build Decay. If there was a slowing hex for someone that has a lot of stamina, you would build that. If there's, you know, if you use Withering Whip, would also be a really great choice. But luckily, Ammo Scavenger is a really good item base stat wise, and it helps Ivy lane. Why is it a good item base stat wise? It provides 60 HP and 15% ammo. That's amazing. The Ivy is low max HP. She has low base HP, right? If we look at her HP right now, let's sell all of our items here. So early game, 60 HP is almost 10% of Ivy's base HP at level 1 or whatever, power 1, whatever you want to call it, right? I have 550 HP. When I buy the Ammo Scavenger, I have 610 HP. That is almost 10% of Ivy's HP, right? 60 HP. So that's great. 15% ammo is fantastic. It gives us 6 more bullets, about 5 more bullets. I can't count. And it gives us ammo per deny. This is something that I love. I love denying, I love confirming, and this is just going to assist you in that so much. And remember that theme I talked about with the headshot booster. This is going to increase our priority early game because it gives us these stats early. It gives us the spirit power per soul that you can use on your 1 early. It gives you, you know, the ammo per soul early, all this stuff, right? It helps Ivy with her early game prio, right? So it all kind of feeds into that, these items. Now, there really isn't anything else new with early laning, but these 2 items, I will tell you from anecdotal experience that they have honestly won me lane a lot more than, you know, the build without these items. So that is why I added these items to the build, because the Ivy's early game is very weak. So let's get into the mid game core. Now, you might realize that Vampiric Burst got moved down to late game core, and Escalating Resilience and Titanic Magazine got moved to the mid game core. Now, why is this? And Healing Booster. So this is going off anecdotal experience, okay? I'm sorry. This is my personal testing in games. I have many games with Ivy. Healing Booster has been an absolute pleasure and amazing item for me to use. This item is fantastic. Why is this item fantastic? This item is fantastic because you build active reload, build lifesteal, and when you build the healing booster boosts the healings off the active reload and the bull lifesteal. It also increases your base health regen, your stone form lifesteal, or your stone form max heal. Sorry. So like, look, you see how it goes from 10% to 12.5%. Well, if we upgrade this all the way, it goes from 30% to 38%. Okay, and this is one of the earliest items you upgrade stone form, right? It also increases your W heal. So this item, and not to mention, it's increasing your health regen. So I will tell you, healing booster is just such a great item. It also gives you, not a lot, but some nice spirit resist, some health regen. Not only does it increase the healing though, but it decreases healing reduction, which is a problem, right? If you're playing Ivy and you're side laning and then you're versing someone that has lifesteal, it's very problematic because, you know, you have active reload, you have bull lifesteal, right? Maybe you have vampiric burst, right? You do kind of rely on lifesteal because you're shooting your gun. It's your way to 1v1 opponents. So if you do encounter anti-heal, right, it's going to be a big problem, and that's why we have healing booster. I will tell you from my experience, this item is just absolutely fantastic. I love it. It's a great item. So the other items I want to get into is I want to start talking about Tesla bullets. So it's going to be very brief. I already kind of explained this item. Tesla bullets is good because it allows us to use suppressor and bull resist shredder. You'll notice in a lot of Wraith builds, they also build Tesla bullets and they also build suppressor and bull resist shredder. Kind of same idea, same philosophy. I understand there's an innate cooldown with Tesla bullets, but nonetheless, the item in my opinion is still fantastic because it gives us these fantastic spirit item choices, and these spirit item choices can be the make it or break it between winning a 1v1 in that side lane, right? Let's talk about Escalating Resilience now. So Escalating Resilience is really good because I want you to notice the stack duration. Stack duration is 20 seconds, okay? Something like Intensifying Magazine, these stacks drop off immediately. Let me demonstrate. So look at Oka over here on the left, okay? See how it falls off immediately. You lose value the second you start reloading. Now, Escalating Resilience. Look at that. You are probably never going to lose these stacks in a team fight ever. Losing Intensifying Magazine is definitely possible. Escalating Resilience, you are never losing these stacks. And the stats are very good. Fire rate, weapon damage. Obviously, you don't like weapon damage that much, but fire rate is really nice. And you are getting basically 40% bullet resist for the whole entire fight. And what this does is when you have all this bullet resist, right? And you have the bullet resist from bullet resist shredder, and you have the bullet resist from Titanic Magazine, you are slowly becoming a tank, and you can just rush improved spirit armor. You don't even need bullet armor. Improved bullet armor would be something in the late game you would get, right? Look, late game core, mid game utility. We have improved spirit armor here because you're getting so much bullet resist from Escalating Resilience and Titanic Magazine, which is the next item we're going to get into. Titanic Magazine is just a really good item. I don't really know how else to describe it. The ammo it provides is absolutely insane, and I value it personally, anecdotally, over Vampiric Burst now. I'm not really that much of a fan of Vampiric Burst. You'd think Vampiric Burst would be really good with Healing Booster, and indeed it is, but saving 6,300 gold to, you know, finally start getting active. I've noticed when you hoard so many souls to save up for these late game items that it really fucks your early and mid game. So for me, keeping the tempo, right, by building Titanic, by building Escalating, by building Healing Booster, Tesla Bullets, is a much better alternative than building Siphon Bullets off the rip, which is why Siphon Bullets, Ricochet, and Vampiric Burst are in our late game core and are the expensive items. Now, these items are definitely still buildable in the mid game, but for my build and just, you know, normal Ivy build and stuff like that, I would recommend these to be in the late game core. And what Quicksilver Reload does is it basically gives our next ability that we use spear damage, and it gives us a full mag, and it gives us fire rate bonus for the clip. So notice if I put it, let me see, go to the shop, I can put on my 2, right, I shoot, pop 2, full mag, right, and also spear damage. So it's pretty cool. Great item to build on Ivy for your 3 or 2 or 1. I mean, there's many different choices, whatever you prefer, right? Definitely prefer the 2 and the 3. Not really much to say about this, but it's a great choice. So remember that talk we had? It was either just now or like earlier in the build. I don't know where I'm gonna put this in the video, but that talk we had about early game priority with Headshot Booster and Ammo Scavenger, right? So I did change the ability point order because of that as well, right? Getting the fire rate from your Watcher's Covenant early for 1 point, getting the 2 charges from your Kudzu Bomb early for 1 point, right? Airdrop doesn't count. I don't think that the airdrop 1 really helps with laning that much. So for your 1 and 2 at least, getting those first ability points in there just to get that early game prio, because right, if you're hoarding all your ability points for your stone form, which you still are, right, early, then it's really going to stunt your laning, because right, you could have had 2 charges on your Kudzu, or you could have had 10% fire rate on your Watcher's Covenant, which doesn't seem like a lot alone by itself, but in laning phase, it really definitely is important, because you need every single advantage you can get, right, to lane. Winning your lane is extremely important. When you win your lane, right, you roam with the airdrop, you roam with your Stoneform Kudzu airdrop comp, like whatever you want to do, right? You roam and then get your other laners ahead. So that is the idea on why the ability point order changed. And I mean, there's not much else to describe on the build. We got some late game core options that I just spoke about not even a minute ago. Siphon Bullets. So this right here, Rika Rush for team fighting or Siphon for splitting. What does this mean? We say that Siphon Bullets is better for split pushing because if we compare Siphon Bullets to Ricochet, Siphon Bullets is a much better option for 1v1ing enemies. Is it not? I mean, you can just look at both of these items and agree with me. Ricochet, we recommend this for team fighting because it is a much better team fighting tool than Siphon Bullets, because Ricochet, right, it bounces on enemies, right? In team fights, you're going to have a lot of enemies clumped together. Ricochet is going to get a lot more value out of Siphon Bullets in team fights because the damage will be higher because your bullets are bouncing around everybody. And then obviously, once you have Siphon Bullets, you build Ricochet. When you have Ricochet, you build Siphon Bullets. You can also fit Vampiric Burst whenever. If you want to build it after Siphon Bullets, then get Ricochet, that's fine. Whatever you want to go about it. But this is, you know, what I would recommend and whatnot.